Hello, welcome to Calls with Your Kinky Bestie. I'm Emma. I am a submissive and mentor for fellow kinksters. This podcast is all about insights into kinky life and dating, sharing my personal experience and stories, and help share mindset shifts too to get you into a confident space, more confident than you are now. So get ready. It all starts now. Hey besties! Today we're talking about all things kink community, how to find community in kink, why you'll avoid it, ways to overcome that avoidance, and just do the thing anyways, because if you're listening, you're desiring some sort of community in kink. So let's do it. Let's chat about it. This will be a shorter episode. God, I'm hoping. This is a batch day for me where I'm recording multiple podcasts in a row. And this is my last one of the day. And I just had a hard time reining in my wanting to rant about the other ones. And I've got shit to do. So, okay, we're going to keep this a little short and to the point. So this is going to be very actionable and more of a mindset shift type of episode rather than like, a step-by-step tutorial kind of thing that I usually do. Okay, so finding community in kink. You probably already know ways to find this community. I'll give a little blurbs about, the ways. Like, you can clearly find people online. FetLife is an amazing resource. FetLife is also a great way to find, again, other resources to find kink community. So people will post about physical events there, so you can find physical community, but you'll also find out about some digital communities that way too. A lot of times people will post to FetLife, about their Discord group, or, Kik used to be a thing for community groups too. I don't know if that's even around anymore, but Discord is the one that I have seen most recently. It's like an online meeting space. Sometimes even digital events will go on that will be posted to FetLife too, like munches that will maybe happen over Zoom or, an online place like that. So, there are some some things that you can start researching to find those kink community and places. So come up with those places that are interesting to you. Just do your research on where you want to go, what you want to experience, but the reason that you're probably here is because you maybe already know about these communities, but you find yourself avoiding them for one reason or another. So maybe it's that you know about these spaces, but for maybe a reason that you can't quite put your finger on, you don't want to do it. Or maybe you're able to put your finger on a piece of the reason, but not, maybe it's not grounded in a ton of reality or truth, and it's coming from more of a fear place. So oftentimes I see this a lot around FetLife, where people, there's this kind of fear around FetLife as an online place. And you'll hear this around different reasons, like maybe, the age demographic on there isn't really my thing, or, because there isn't the same, censorship as something like Instagram or Facebook. Like, people are able to actually, post explicit content on FetLife because it's more, it's private, just for kinky people and open source and things like that. That kind of thing comes up. But really, I think a lot of what it boils down to is because FetLife does post around physical events, it gets a lot more real than a lot of online places. Like, there's a way to actually put in your FetLife profile your location and where you live and find people in your area. And obviously you can share photos. It's a little bit more like it's almost like a Facebook page kind of thing, where you can post a ton of photos and information about you. So it can get real really fast whenever you're no longer just scrolling on I don't know, some sort of online community, or you're not scrolling through a dating app where it's just one person at a time who you're filtering for an age group, because FetLife doesn't have all of the same filters. It does have some, but not all of them. And it's also searchable. So it's not the same as a dating app where, someone's only able to really interact with you if you like them back. Like, anyone can kind of search you and message you on FetLife. There are ways to actually create settings and restrictions around that if you don't want that to happen, but it's not automatic. You go on there and people are going to be able to message you and talk to you and see your kinks and your pictures and your profile, and whatever you put out there, people can see right away. So there's some fear around that, I think, for a few different reasons. One of the big ones being, privacy. People are fearful of someone in the community being able to know who they are and track them down, kind of thing. Which there are some online digital pieces around that obviously you do want to be careful not to. You don't want to put your address or your full name online, or I would even caution against. I wouldn't put your phone number publicly on some place like that. Like, maybe just give it to people privately if you feel they've kind of earned your trust and you have some trust built there. You can. And you can do anything. That's just, a little disclaimer I'd maybe caution against. Again, for the reasons of, your privacy and your safety. So privacy comes up, safety comes up, you're worried about people actually being able to find you and maybe having malicious intentions. But I think another thing that can come up is just, that classic fear of rejection. Like, you're worried about finding this place where all the kinky people are, and even then not being able to perfectly fit in somewhere, or just having someone send you a message that is not your thing, or reaching out to someone and wanting to be their friend and chat with them about kink and not getting a response back either. Like, that is very real as well. So there's so many different layers of this, but I'm going to try to simplify as much as I can. And that is that all of these pieces and these fears that you're feeling around your privacy, around your safety, around rejection, and maybe there's even some others on that list. All of these fears, if you're wanting to find community and kink and be, more publicly out and finding community connection, you're going to have to take all of these steps. Like, you're going to have to figure out and deal with the privacy, the safety, and the rejection pieces. So for some of those pieces, there's a little bit of work that you need to do preemptively. So thinking about your privacy and your safety, like, you're gonna, before publicly going out there, you're gonna have to do some research on, what information could make you findable in real life. Obviously, you want to be careful where you're putting that information to. Like, you wouldn't want to put that on necessarily on a more public platform than something like FetLife, which is still a little bit more like a closed group. You can't just Google someone's FetLife profile, but you can, once you're in FetLife, find a kinkster on there. So you want to do some research about where you're putting that information, what you're willing to put out, and why. And you might also have to face some pieces that, like, maybe there's some pieces that immediately your brain goes to, like, no, I don't want to put my face out there. I don't want to put a picture of my body online. I don't want to post about my age online. I don't want any kinkster to actually really know anything about me. And it's okay if that's where you are and you want that to be your starting place. You can totally go onto one of those platforms and start from that place and just like build and grow from there. But you also, if you're desiring some sort of community and kink and you're wanting some sort of vulnerability from others as part of that, it really is a give and take thing. So you can't expect, and maybe it might happen for you, but you can't really expect to find community with people that are the same age as you and share the same kinks as you if you're not willing to share online like your age and your kinks. You know? So a lot of wanting something is really just being the type of person who's okay with having it. So okay, quick pause. We'll follow up more on this later. I'll chat with you after this. Just a little break to share that if you are loving this podcast and my content, if I'm someone you could see yourself working with, but you're wanting more direct support for your specific situation, I do offer mentorship. It's personalized to you, private video or phone calls with me, so you can chat about your situation and figure out a solution that's going to work for you. You can visit my website. It is kinkybestie.com/mentorships to see what's available and to book in your spot on my calendar. It's Kinky with a Y at the end and Bestie with an IE at the end. The link will be in the show notes, so you can check it out there. Back to the show. Okay, we're back. We're talking about finding community in kink and how to overcome like avoidance and fears you might have around actually, being in the kink community. It's really what it boils down to. So before the break, we talked about privacy and safety as very like real fears. And I think fears that you should have a little bit going into the kink community, and really any online or physical place. Like you want to be a safe person who's not in harm's way. That is a good desire to have. But another piece that sometimes comes up when you're wanting to find community in kink is rejection being a hurdle. And rejection is one of those pieces where like you certainly can do some prep beforehand. You can absolutely already be working on creating that really high self-esteem for yourself, that self-image, working on the confidence piece, and also working on the self-awareness piece. Because if you, I know this isn't a super ADHD focused episode, but that, is the community I serve. So if you have ADHD, you might have some of your symptoms might be around mirroring, where you find yourself not fully authentically expressing and behaving in the way that maybe you inherently want to, and instead you're reflecting from others the ways that they behave and the mindset, like you're reflecting it back to them because of that rejection fear piece, unconsciously or consciously or whatever. It can, it's a pretty common symptom of for neurodivergent people on like the ADHD side of things. So you can certainly work on the the prep for that by the self-awareness piece was the word I was looking for. So by knowing in advance, okay, this is something that I know I do. I know I, kind of imitate, who I'm around so that I can be accepted by them. But by me doing that, I'm also rejecting myself a little bit. And I'm rejecting the behaviors, like the ways that I want to express and be in the world. I'm rejecting myself for that. So there's the self-awareness piece around knowing like, okay, what behaviors are actually mine? What isn't mine? Getting really clear about that. And, the prep work you do being more about the self-rejection piece and the self-acceptance piece. So what's the work you can do before going into more of that community setting where you're facing that from other people? So deal with yourself first. Like, where are the areas that you're rejecting yourself and not fully accepting who you are and what you want to do and who you want to be, all that kind of stuff. But once you have that in place and you're really, wanting to be in the kink community in a more just in a community way where you're interacting with outside sources, but you're feeling that rejection from them. Babes, I hate to tell you, you can't really prevent that a ton. A lot of this work is just taking those steps anyways and being in that situation so that when you're there, then you can do the healing and be in that like learning phase. So then whenever you take that next step, either you're set up in a way where that rejection is going to be less likely to happen to you, because now you're aware of who your people are and who you want to be around and moving towards that instead. But also you're just going to be a little bit more resilient and equipped, against some of those fears and feelings that come up with rejection. But as long as you're in that fear state of not doing the thing, because you're afraid of what's going to happen whenever you're going to do the thing, well, as long as you're not doing that thing, like as long as you're not taking that step, you're not going to be moving towards that goal of where you want to be and who you want to be. So part of this progress and this self-discovery a bit is actively moving towards the things that you want to do, facing the fears that come up along the way, and facing those fears like one step at a time. So then, once you tackle that one fear, then, oh, that's not so scary anymore, someone rejecting me because they don't have the same kink as me. That's not so scary anymore because, I don't really want to be in these types of situations anymore with someone who doesn't have the same kinks as me, but also can't be around, or doesn't want to accept my kinks. Like, that's just not even on my radar anymore, because I want to be around people who are accepting of my kinks and accepting of me and share some of those kinks with me too. So now I'm going to take a step closer to that direction. And maybe you have a little bit of fear of rejection, but it's different. And then, if that fear actually realizes, then from there you can deal with it. And then, just keep taking these steps closer and closer to who you want to be. There's so much courage that comes up with this. And, you'll notice as you go through these steps, as you're facing these external challenges, again, that, often it's mirroring back to you like lessons that you still internally need to learn and figure out, and improve that relationship with yourself too, which is super fucking cool. But once you're feeling that resistance and doing the thing anyways and overcoming what's going to happen, we're just getting you closer and closer to where you want to be. And how fucking cool is that? I do have some little tips for doing the thing anyways, even though it's scary. So there's a statistic that someone is actually 65% more likely to achieve a goal if they committed to someone. It's like they've told someone out loud, like, I'm doing this thing. So if you want to go to like a kink event, but you just feel some fear around it, that would be the first, one of the most impactful steps to do would be to just tell someone you're doing it. And that 65% statistic, like, that's just for telling anybody that you're going to do this. Like, you're still going to be 65% more likely to achieve that goal just because you're talking about it. So, and I don't have the stats around this, but if just telling anyone is going to get you that much closer to your goal, what if you're telling people who are able to hold you to that goal? So finding utilizing your close friendships in that way, maybe committing to the event or the group that you want to go interact with. Like, maybe it's by committing to going to this event, it's just buying a ticket. Like, in that way you're committing to the group that this is going to happen. But maybe you can tell someone in the group too that you're going, like post on their little FetLife page, or if it's an event, do they have a community page somewhere that you can RSVP, or just share with someone that's going, that you're planning on going to. That is such an easy way to get you closer towards it. But you can also overcome, be more likely to take those steps by taking some sort of making some sort of personal investment in it too. So maybe that is something like buying a ticket to attend an event. What are other like investments you can make towards doing something? Like maybe it's a time investment, where you're investing a certain amount of time into like planning your outfit for going, or packing, or something like that. Like some way that you can invest your money or your time into like towards doing that thing. It's going to get you closer to, being willing to overcome that fear and just do it anyways. If your goal is a little bit more out there, or I guess just not concrete, like if there's not actually a date and time around it, that's another really easy thing you can do, is just set a date and time that you want this thing to happen. So not super related to community and kink, like when my partner and I have a goal to do something, like, oh, we want to go to this theme park this year, how we get ourselves to do it is we just pick a date together, put it on, like we have a shared online calendar, we'll pop it on there, so then before that date comes, like we know kind of what it is that we're shooting for then, and can start making plans around that. So maybe it's just setting a date, setting up a date with someone in the kink community that you want to meet. If there's some sort of ongoing event, like every Friday night this month happens at this location, pick which Friday that you want to go, put it on your calendar, tell your friend that you're going this date. Again, maybe invest some of you could pre-buy a ticket, or, RSVP in advance, or invest again some of your time into planning for and prepping for this event as well. If you struggle with if you're not sure who you would want to tell about this piece, hey, I'm a kink mentor, I can be the person you tell, and hype you up a bit too. And I don't have the statistics on this, but in my head, 100% of people who tell me their goals are gonna reach it, because I'm working with them on that goal too. So, I am so cold right now, just where I am. So my brain is like fizzling out a little bit. So this is going to be the end of the episode. I will tie it off here, but thank you so much for listening in. I appreciate you so much. I will see you in the next lovely episode. And that's all I've got for you today. Bye, friends. Go be kinky. Go be in community. Be the community where you, if you want to live somewhere where there's a kink community around you, part of that is being someone in that area who shows up for the kink community. All right. Good luck, dear ones. Chat soon. Thank you so much for joining me this episode. You can follow the podcast on the platform where you're listening to get updates with new episodes. You can follow me on social media at Kinky Bestie. I'm on Instagram. You can also check the show notes for any links or resources that I talked about in this episode, or just more ways to connect with me. And please share this with your kinky friends who could benefit from this type of content. There is also an option for each podcast episode to engage with Q&As or polls. So I'd love to hear from you and create future episodes around what you want to chime in with. So please check those out in the show notes too. And I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.